Hi again then guys, and welcome to another circuit tune for GT Sports 1.53 selection of cars, this time the Golf GTi, the original Mark 1. Now of course there are certain things about this car that you can never change, not in this game at least. It's front wheel drive, small, lightweight and classic, so of course when you increase the power, chances are you're going to have at least some understeer, maybe even some torque steer. But with the tuning that I've done, I've actually got rid of a lot of that. It does not really spin up the wheels anymore, which is a huge advantage. Now, I originally planned and tested even to do this in N100, and by all means you could detune it to that if you want to, but it wasn't that good. I mean, it wasn't bad, it just wasn't quick enough. It was no way near the top times that I had in N100, so I thought, you know what, let's give it a try in N200, see what difference it makes, and as it turns out, it's far more competitive. In fact, this is only 0.8 seconds behind my N200 tune for the Honda NSX Type R. It's right behind the Clio V6, and even if you compare this to the fastest N200 build I've ever done, which I did a few days ago for the Porsche Club Sport, the new Carrera RS, this is only 1.8 seconds behind that. Now, of course, 1.8 seconds is enough to lose a race, but it really highlights that this car is a lot better than it easily could be in N200. However, I would not recommend putting it into N300 because it just doesn't have enough power, and that understeer is really going to come in strong. And of course, N300, you're talking about some real heavy hitters then, so I wouldn't recommend even trying it unless you're going up against purely AI. Now, as far as the upgrades, of course you want to drop the weight as low as it can go. As far as power, I would recommend 222%, which of course is the peak of N200. Traction control, you definitely want turned off. Sports soft tyres are the deal of the day. Of course, racing tyres will definitely make this thing even quicker through corners, so use those if they are available. I'm just showing you what it can do even without those as an advantage. As far as the suspension, I've dropped the ride height as low as it can go, cup car style. As far as the frequency, we've got 1.9, which is fairly high. 8 and 6 for the anti-roll, 65 on the compression side of the dampers with 92 on the rebound side of things. We've got 3 degrees of camber on the front to help with the turn in, a little bit on the back, just 1 degree, and you could change that if you wanted to. We've got neutral toe, of course no downforce to work with. As far as the diff, I've tried a few different things. This works best for me, and it almost completely, if not completely, eliminates wheel spin, which of course is a huge issue for a car like this. The lowest initial torque, the highest acceleration, and the highest braking. Seems like a pretty hefty way of doing it, but I find that that works for this one. And finally for the gearbox, of course you need to get more top-end speed to complement that 245 horsepower, so you want the fully customised transmission. I would recommend an auto setting of 162 miles an hour, which is probably, about 260 kilometers per hour, I think, something like that. So if I recall correctly, I think I've basically just left those numbers stock, pretty much, whatever it comes with that 162 auto setting. So as far as the gearbox goes, if you do detune it to N100, you'll definitely want to make those closer because obviously you don't have that kind of power requirement. But what you want to see, obviously, is what can this car actually do on the circuit. Well, what this thing can do is a lap time of drag and trail on those sports soft tyres in under 2 minutes. It's like a 1:59.8 on my second lap. So overall, as I said, it's not the quickest N200 car I've built, but it's very competitive, and this is certainly an interesting choice if you want to have kind of a sleeper car, because it's very competitive. I feel like this would kind of be like the classic Mini, but whereas the Mini's great in N100, this could be that kind of thing for N200, like the small, cheap, unexpected classic hatch, which can just run away with the victory. So I would be curious to see what this thing could do on the Nordschleife in particular, especially if you're racing in like a public lobby. And like I said, if you do get the chance to use racing tyres with it, I have no doubt this thing will destroy a number of cars on technical circuits, especially circuits which require a high average speed through corners, which is why I said the Nürburgring, because that's exactly what that kind of track is. So overall, if you do use this one for N200 in particular, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. It's got a huge amount of potential, and I even feel that compared to the laps that I've done, a better driver could definitely squeeze an even better time out of it, probably even breaking into the 158 region, if not even quicker. So it's got a ton of potential. It's a very, very good little N200 car, and certainly an unexpected one. So if you want to check out my other tunes, of course for the cars in this update as well as all of the other ones, then click the playlist here on screen, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.